Hundreds of rescue workers in the Dominican Republic, they're still on the scene of that deadly roof collapse as they search for survivors more than 24 hours after this tragic event happened. This morning, more than 100 people, or I should say, more than 100 people died in the accident at a popular nightclub. And CBS News correspondent Christian Benavides is following developments from Santo Domingo right next to the scene of where this happened. And Christian, show us around and tell us how the search for survivors is continuing today.
Errol, this is a massive, massive scene. I mean, there are dozens and dozens of search and rescue people who are here, and they've been going throughout the night for over 24 hours now. That's some of the machinery that they're using, some of those big cranes to just sort of remove the debris that's around there. I want to take you around the scene just so you can sort of get a sense of what it's like down here and what it means when I say that this is an absolutely massive scene. You've got dozens and dozens of search and rescue agents over here. But as you take a walk throughout the scene, you see all of these ambulances that are here waiting for patients. Right here you see just about 2 of them, but down the street there's just lines and lines of rescue vehicles waiting for people to be pulled out of the rubble. Unfortunately, all that's being pulled out right now are bodies. I want you to get a sense of what's happening just over here. This is sort of the area where officials have set up. It's the staging area, and this is where you get the media briefings, you get an update on what's happening. That's where we're getting those updates on the death toll. Right over here is an area which is a little bit closer to the scene. I want to get a little closer before I show you the Jet Set nightclub. And again, I mean, this nightclub is sort of a place for the who's who of the Dominican Republic. And that's why when you look at the death toll, you have people like the governor of a local province here. You have former Major League Baseball players that were here. And Monday nights is when they have their largest event of the week. The Jet Set nightclub, which is right here, right behind me, is known for these Monday night events where you have this packed house full of people who come here to watch these international artists and local artists. Let's talk about the artist who was here. He was just about a week ago in New York City at the United Palace at local venues. So that just gives you a sense of the connection that there is too here between folks who come to this nightclub here in the Dominican Republic and that connection that they have with the United States. This is the entrance of the Jet Set nightclub. Currently you see it's completely blocked off. The wall for the entrance is still up, but right behind it, if you take a look at the crane, right behind it is all that rubble. There are times when they're bringing bodies out and they sort of, there's these officials here sort of make a wall so you're unable to see what's happening.
Okay. This is a damn nightmare. So I'm sure by now many of you have already seen the footage and the coverage of this club that literally had its roof cave in, but I wanted to show you something else. I'm gonna play this video where they have aerial footage and footage from the wreckage and the debris, the fallout for this. I'm gonna turn this music down. I believe the death toll has reached over 120 now. I believe it was, the last time I saw it, it was over. It's about 124 bodies that they have pulled out of this wreckage with concrete everywhere. This is a fucking disaster. This is a nightmare. And I wanted to shine a light on one of the comments that I read in this particular video right here, because a lot of people, of course, were asking, how does this happen, right? How does a roof just cave in? And it's not a normal occurrence for a roof to just give way, right? Something had to happen. The integrity of the building had to be compromised. The integrity of the structure, had to be compromised. So I wanted to read this, That's the aerial view right there. Jesus Christ, that is for an entire build. Oh my gosh, bro. All right, so this guy said, from what I read, there was a fire in 2023, and they told the owner to demolish the building, deeming it unsafe. This was a building built back in 1973. Instead of demolishing it, he fixed it in a day and paid off some officials to look the other way. Adding to the already compromised building, the owner installed AC units on top of the roof. There's some videos in circulation on Instagram showing workers sweeping up debris on the floor, so the owner knew about the issues but ignored the warning signs. If that is true, there is going to be a massive amount of lawsuits everywhere. I don't even know where you would start in order to try and get some type of value or monetary value for the deaths that this has caused. Do you start with the city officials? Do you start with because understand, I know somebody very close that works for the city, and people always get angry when they call up the city and they have to get all these permits. They have to go through all of these different processes in order to be up to code for the buildings. They have to have these building inspections, multiples, and they have to pass them all. And people call in all the time to the city, and they have with these attitudes, right? When I'm talking about building owners, they call in with these attitudes, and they're so angry that they have to pay all this money to get all these different inspections done, and the fact that they got to have their buildings up to code, and they all wonder why we have all these mandates and why we have all these standards for buildings and why we have all of these laws in place. Well, this is why right here. Look no further than this right here. There's a reason that we have built up our economy to where we have to have mandated rules in place so that shit like this doesn't happen and the integrity of your building isn't compromised. And when it's deemed it needs to be closed, you're not able to keep it open. If it's true that they paid off somebody to keep this building open, and as a result, this is what happened, and you lost over 100 lives have been taken and destroyed, man, can you imagine the fallout that's going to happen legally? Could you imagine? Somebody's getting arrested. Somebody's going to jail behind this. And I know that the building owner he's probably on the next flight to Cambodia or something. The building owner is probably already out of town. He got listen, what he's going to be subjected to once they get through going through all of this debris, all of the rubble, and pulling out all of the bodies, once they get past all of the demolition that they have to do on this building, once they get past cleaning this up, he's going to be brought and served up on a platter. Not only him, but also the officials that allowed this building to maintain events and stay open. It's unfortunate they said an MLB player, hold on, let me see if I can find a different article. I believe here, this video is just moments before the collapse. So you can see the guy, Jesus Christ. You can see the guy pointing out here. He's pointing that something just fell. Right here. Right there. He's pointing it out. And no sooner than he pointed it out, and you see artists are kind of the artists that's on stage and the performers are looking over in the same direction. They're looking up like, what the hell is going on? And no sooner than they looked.
Footage from inside a nightclub shows the moment part of its roof collapsed, killing dozens of people. The roof caved in the early hours of Tuesday in the Dominican Republic's capital, Santo Domingo. Officials say at least 300 people were inside the venue at the time of the collapse, and rescue efforts are underway.
Over 300 people were inside, and right now they're just pulling out bodies. They're just pulling out bodies, body after body, and it's unfortunate. This is going to be, and the bigger part of this is, y'all be safe out here, man. Be safe when you go into these places, especially in foreign territory, with places that have, their codes and their rules, and these other places are not our rules and not meaning they don't have the same codes and standards that we do. They just don't. Sorry, they don't. But let me know what you think about this tragedy down in the comments. Prayers to all who have been affected by this, and we'll see what happens as far as where the blame gets placed as we move on. I'll see y'all in the next one.